booktube, it's Janet and Eleanor, and we've got part 2 of our If You're From the North, Bath book haul, and if you're from the South, Bath.
So my first one here is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is, I think this is middle grade, and it's about this village where they sacrifice a baby every year to the witch who lives in the forest, and then what she's doing, rather than actually like sacrificing the children, she's actually feeding them sunlight, I think it is. She rescues them, she feeds them starlight and sends them to people that live on the other side of the forest, and they bring the children up. And then one day she makes a mistake and she feeds one of the babies moonlight instead of starlight, and then this baby is very different, and so she decides she's going to have to bring this baby up herself, and it's the story of that. I just think it sounds so magical and lovely, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I want to know what the difference is with the baby that has the moonlight to the baby
that
has
I don't know, but I think that sounds interesting. Oh, she has extraordinary magic, so it fills her with magic. And there's a little baby dragon on the front, so that makes me hopeful.
Maybe there's a dragon in it then.
It says on the back, like when they tell you like what's inside: moon magic, witches and swamp monsters. Right on my street.
There you have it.
Yeah.
I have Hydra next, by I'll probably say this wrong, by Matt Wesolowski. I don't know if that's right. And this is the second book in the 6 stories series, because the first book, 6 Stories, was out last year, and it's based on the podcast Serial, and so it's the same sort of format where you get each chapter is an episode of the podcast, and then I think you've got to work out who committed the crime at the end. And I really enjoyed 6 Stories last year, so
that should be good then. If you like the writing
style,
style, that's
quite enjoyed it. Yes, and I didn't see the end coming of 6 Stories, so hopefully.
Same there.
Yeah,
be good. Next I've got is Alex Approximately by Jem Bennett. This is a YA contemporary about a girl that has met a boy online. She then moves to California to live with her father, and this is where this boy is from. She's sort of doing some detective work online to try and find out who this boy is and find him. And then I think during the process of this, she bumps into this annoying surfer dude who she starts chatting to and is really annoying. And I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen here, but it's the journey that I really enjoy. So it sounds like a really fun contemporary story.
Yeah, you meet, there's a misunderstanding, and then everything's alright. Yeah, everybody needs a bit of that. The next one I've got is Scythe by Neil Schusterman. And it's got a lovely picture of somebody with a scythe there. So you might guess that this is a little bit about death, which, if you watch my channel, you know I'm quite interested in. So this is the thing on the end, on the back of it, it just says, what if death was the only thing left to control? And so basically, in a perfect world, the only way to die is to be gleaned by a scythe. And so it follows Citra and Rowan and their apprentice scythes, and they've got to learn about killing, and they're apprenticing that, but they've got to then make the terrifying decision of who to kill. And that's apparently just a start, because then there's corruption, and they're told that one of them's got to glean the other. It sounds quite cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
A little bit dark.
Next one I picked up is A Million Junes by Emily Henry. I think this is a magical realism story about a girl that lives next door to a family, and the families don't interact with each other, but I think she starts chatting to the boy next door and things unravel, but it sounds very magical and there's all sorts of things going on. It mentions in the blurb that there is like legacies and coy wolves and ghosts and magic, so I think it's going to be a good one.
Next I've got Bells by Donielle Clayton. Is that how I said the right? Donielle Clayton. You're listening to it on audiobook. And it's set in Orleans, and basically people are born grey, and then if you become a belle you can instill colour on people, is that right?
Yeah, so you're born a belle, I think.
Yes, and then so it says Camellia? Yeah, Camellia. As in the flower.
Yeah.
So she wants to go to court and serve the royal family, and apparently it's not quite as glamorous and lovely as you would think.
Yeah.
And she says she's going to break the rules to save the life of the ailing princess. Yeah. And it sounds like there's gardening going on outside.
There is. The next one I picked up is The Stranger Game by Cylin Busby. This was recommended to me by one of the booksellers. I wouldn't have picked it up because of the cover. It didn't draw me in. It just looks a bit bland. But the story itself sounded quite good. It's about a girl and her older sister disappears. Everyone is devastated. No one understands. But Nico never admits that she feels happy because this sister was horrible to her, quite cruel. And then 4 years later, this girl is found and she's very changed. And we sort of go from there and discover what's happened to this girl and her future relationship with her sister, I think. So it sounds interesting. The front says the stranger in the house is her own sister.
Next I've got The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I've seen this everywhere. I believe it's really funny. And it says that it's about Lucy Hutton, who bakes cakes, and she's very nice, and she's got the whole office on her side apart from this guy called Joshua Templeton, and this seems like there's some desire to take him down because he's not her cup of tea. So obviously
I've got that one on my shelf. I can't wait. I just keep hearing such
I
wonderful
think I got
things
you this
about
for
it.
your January
Yeah.
Bookopoly, and then when I got it for you I thought, oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
really good.
like something great. So yeah, it just sounds like something that'll just be really good to just cheer you up on a sad day.
Bit of a love-hate
Make you laugh.
relationship. Yeah. Next one I picked up is Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. I really like the cover of this one. And this one is about a 17-year-old and her 5 friends, and it says she's in love with them all for different reasons. They have like a group they called the Hexagons, and they're sort of a group of schemers. It says they scheme for kicks and giggles. What happens when you microwave a sock? Why not campaign to save the annual Harvest Festival? How can we get the most unlikely candidate elected in the town's highest honour? But then they start scheming about love things, and that starts to cause all sorts of problems. And it says here, it's an honest, funny and endearing account of a girl coming to terms with the grey areas of love, gender and sexuality when facing the opposition that follows. So I think it's going to be a diverse book set in a small town, so that sounds good.
Next I've got Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows, and that's by Bali Kaur Jaswal.
I've heard of that as well.
Yes, I've had my eye on this for quite a while actually. It's been on my wish list for ages. And it's not so dutiful daughter Nikki. She goes back to the Punjab and she takes a teaching job at the local temple, and she's working with a class of elderly widows, and apparently these widows are a little bit hard to control, and they open up about womanhood, the sexuality, all the dark untold stories that have gone on in this community, so like all the gossip that they obviously know. And then apparently there's this group of self-appointed brothers who sort of police what goes on and what people say, but as these stories are coming out, it's uncovering the truth of a suspicious death of a woman.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. Well, you'll have to let me know on that one.
Yes.
That's definitely.
But yeah, I had that on my wish list for ages.
That sounds great. Okay, I've got next Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a Zoella and Friends 2017 book club book. I can't remember whose channel I've seen this on recently, but I've seen this about and then I've never picked it up, and I wasn't sure it was for me, but someone who I watch on BookTube really enjoyed it recently, and there's someone that I tend to have similar taste to. It says Juliet Young's always written letters to her mother. Even after her mother's death, she leaves these letters at the grave, and then we're following her and then this guy who's a bit of a tough guy, and he doesn't know why, but one day he finds this letter in the local cemetery and ends up replying to it, and they're sort of replying but they don't know who each other are, and sort of two strangers sending letters to each other. So I think this sounds really interesting, so I'm looking forward to it.
Next I've got The Bird and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it because everybody says it's marvellous and I'm going to love it. So well, you sort of put it in my hand.
Russian fairy tale-ish.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't read it.
Have you not read it?
No.
I thought you knew what it was about.
No, only because I've got to read it for the SFF Awards, because it's been nominated in the debut category, so it must be pretty good.
Well, everybody says it's great, so I'll go with that. And it's got a really pretty cover, so you know, I'm shallow.
Right, next I've got a book which was a pure chance that when we went into Mr. B's, the bookseller was trying to like promote it to his other bookseller he was working with, and I was like, that sounds good, can I have that? So it's called Spontaneous by Aaron Starmer. I think the side of this that says Kaboom looks pretty cool. And it's basically set in a town. There's a girl in her senior year and everyone starts to spontaneously combust. Like, they don't know why. It happens to the first person and then it just keeps happening, and it's about how they're going to try and survive until like prom and graduation in this town, and discover why people are just randomly spontaneously combusting. It just sounds like it's going to be a bit comical, and I like the sound of that.
I've got my last one, and my next one is The Girl in the Tower, and it's also by Catherine Arden, and I know it's yeah, it's another Russian fairy tale. I don't know if it's a sequel to the first one, or another Russian fairy tale. Yeah. But just look how pretty it is.
It is very pretty.
It's very pretty. It almost looks like it should be read at Christmas.
Yeah, I get that feeling from both of them, that they feel very cold and Christmassy.
But I may not wait till Christmas because it's a long way off.
Yeah.
So that's me done.
I've got a couple more. The next two are both by the same author, and they're a local author to Bath, so they were in the local bookshop, both signed. The first one is The Last Summer of Us by Maggie Harcourt. This is about a group of best friends who go on a journey together in a sort of road trip story, and I think, you know, road trips, YA. It's going to be good. The next one I think just sounds really good, and that's Unconventional by her, and this is about a girl who helps out her father. He runs an events business. She has this chance encounter with an author when they're running an event for him. It's a bit of a love-hate situation. She doesn't like him at all. They rub each other the wrong way. But there does tend, you know, it's obviously going to turn into something else. What I loved was it said 6 conventions, a girl with a clipboard, a boy with 2 names, and one night that changes everything. So I just thought that sounded really cool. And then the last one I picked up is The Incredible Adventures of Cinnamon Girl by Melissa Keel. This is one I've had my eye on for quite a long time. It's about Abby, and school's over, she's in the summer, it's the summer, and then this viral video about the end of the world goes out, and so everyone starts to oh, and that her place she lives, this Eden Valley, is like the only safe place, so people are just descending upon their town, and then there's parties and prayer circles and all things going on, and then she's got this alter ego, Cinnamon Girl, which is a comic strip that she's created. So I've heard this is quite comical. It sounds like it's going to be fun, and yeah, just looking forward to finding out about the end of the world. And that's it. Oh, and then I did pick up
yes,
a couple of candles by Paddy Wax Apothecary. One of them is Verbena and Eucalyptus. Love.
Gorgeous.
And the other one is Orange Zest and Bergamot. Oh, I like that one as well.
That's my favourite one.
They're both really gorgeous. They're just little tins. I don't know if we can see that.
Refreshing and...
Yeah, but I think they're going to be really good. I've got really into sticking a candle on as soon as I get in from work now, and just letting it burn in downstairs and sitting there with my book, and it's, yeah, just fills the house.
It's the whole sensory experience.
It is. It's really cosy and lovely. So, yeah, that's my final purchases.
Excellent. So, that's finally it for what we bought in Bath on our lovely bookie weekend. And don't forget, you can watch the first part of this book haul over on Eleanor's channel, and it'll be linked down below.